Well, let's go back to the breaking news story out of Egypt, where a military coup is currently underway there. And reports are that President Mohamed Morsi is out of office. You're looking at live pictures from Tahrir Square, where millions of protesters can be heard cheering and waving flags. There are also reports that military tanks are moving toward the presidential palace. For the very latest of this major breaking news story, I'm joined by RT's Paula Sleer. They're live in Cairo. Hi there, Paula. Can you hear me? Okay, Paula, so
yes, I can. I mean, the situation here is unfolding by the minute.
Okay. So, Paula, I want to get to this. Less than an hour ago, President Morsi was removed from power. What's the latest on the ground there in Egypt?
As you see behind me, the crowd here in Tahrir Square is euphoric. There are hundreds of thousands of protesters who are cheering, waving flags and throwing fireworks into the sky. All of this follows the announcement a short time ago by the head of the Egyptian army that the Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi is now to be replaced by the head of the Constitutional Court. The military chief said that President Morsi had failed to meet the demands of the people, and the people had called on the army to protect and support them. He also said that the police would act decisively with violence, and that is the big concern at the moment, whether or not in the coming hours we will see clashes on the ground. Because while this is a demonstration that is anti the president, there are equally big demonstrations that are for President Morsi. Now, we're hearing from his aide that he has been moved to an undisclosed location. We're also hearing that Morsi has urged both civilians and the military to uphold the constitution and not to accept what he is calling a military coup.
Okay. Well, as you mentioned, Paula, so last night Morsi was firm in wanting to stay in power, but nobody's heard from him, and that military has replaced him with the head of the Constitutional Court. Can you explain this?
Well, yes. I mean, what we've heard from Morsi is quite a defiant, impassioned leader who says that he was elected democratically, and indeed that's what his supporters are saying, that he's only been in power for 1 year and he needs to be given a chance to change a system that he inherited. Now, what the army has put forward is what they are calling a roadmap. What this entails is not only getting rid of the Egyptian president, but also calling for early presidential and parliamentary elections. They have dissolved the constitution. They have dissolved the parliament. At the same time, they say that they will have some kind of interim council running this country, which will be essentially some kind of technocratic government. Exactly how this will unfold, of course, remains to be seen. We have just as an indicator that short speech by the head of the military, al-Sisi, that was broadcast live on Egyptian state television. In the coming hours, no doubt, there'll be more clarification. But there are tanks and there are army troops at all the entrances and exits to all these major rallies currently underway here in Egypt. The army also deploying riot forces to deal with institutions and provide security to major buildings.
Okay. Well, Paula, during the January 25th revolution, protesters and Egyptian military, they came together. Since then, Egyptians were eager to get the military out of power during the Constitutional Convention. How do these protesters there seem to be reacting to the military now?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, we've seen all of this. 2 years ago, the military did come to power after the former Egyptian president, Hosni Mubarak, was ousted, before the new Egyptian president, Mohamed Morsi, was elected. It does seem as if the protesters here have a very short memory, because what they're saying, and certainly those that I've been talking to, is that they're happy that the military is coming to power, and they don't believe that the military is going to conduct some kind of coup. This is in contrast, of course, to the statements coming out of Morsi's camp. A senior aide there and the leader of the Muslim Brotherhood saying that this amounts to nothing more, nothing less than a military coup. Now the question is whether or not the army stays true to its declaration that it does not want to retain power and in fact wants to hand over. Certainly the protesters here feel that for now they've won. They feel that this military takeover is a step in the right direction. Their demands for President Mohamed Morsi to step down have been met.
All right. Paula, unfortunately, that's all we have time for. Thank you so much for weighing in. That was RT correspondent Paula Sleer.